Hello, everyone. I'd like to talk today about the Level 2 seminar that we do at Next Action Associates. I know an awful lot of people who watch the video blog have experience of our Level 1 seminar, and it occurred to me that it might be helpful to give you a sense of what goes on in the Level 2, in case that might be of interest for you. The Level 2 is a good seminar for you if what you're interested in doing is deep diving into some of the aspects of GTD that you've been maybe exposed to before, but haven't done a fundamental implementation of. And also, if you're interested in learning more about the methodology, some of the models that we don't address in the Level 1, and overall, if what you're looking to do is take your GTD system in whatever state it's in and refine it. Maybe you need some new elements of it. Overview you need to change some of the things that you've already implemented. So what we go through is, I'll just give you a quick overview of the day. We start by talking about your path to what we call the path to GTD mastery. And what we're really doing there is giving you a framework for thinking about where have you come from? I mean, where are you so far in your GTD journey? And how would you identify the areas in which you think you need to focus? There are an awful lot of opportunities in the seminar to learn from other people. I mean, of course, one of the things about a Level 2 is that it's going to be in a room full of folks who have a lot of experience of GTD. And so I find as much as I'm talking about, what we recommend and my own experience, people are also, of course, learning from each other by sharing their own experiences, the tools they're using, how those are going. And we actually have built into this seminar, we have some time for people to do that kind of sharing. Then we go into the projects list. And our goal here is that your projects list really reflects the future that you're trying to create. A lot of people have we get exposed to the project idea in the GTDF, in the Level 1, but very few people have actually done or actually maintain a projects list which is really complete. And that's not bad because it's untidy. It's bad because what that means is that number one, you're unlikely to be moving towards those outcomes in an effective way, number one. And number two, to the extent that you've not externalized the thinking about those projects, it may very well be that you're being distracted by those things. So we come at the projects list from a lot of different angles. We come at it, if you will, from the bottom up. What have you got, for example, in your next action lists that might be the first step toward a bigger outcome, but the outcome so far isn't defined in your system? We also come at it from the top down. So in other words, we go into the horizons of focus model. Again, if you've been to the Level 1, you may recall the horizons of focus is the model that we use to ensure perspective. Am I really clear, not just about the things I need to do this week, next month, but what are my ongoing responsibilities? What are my longer term goals? What are the principles that I want to live by? Where do I want to be in 5 years? So we use what we call the higher horizons, the higher levels of that model, again, to come back to the idea of, is my projects list complete? So in other words, very practically, if I've got something that I believe I want to have achieved in 5 years' time, have I identified a good project? In other words, what will I do in the next 12 months that will ensure that I get to that 5-year goal? So by the time we get through that part of the seminar, people find that they've got the best projects list they've ever had, really. Very clean, well identified, well structured, complete inventories of the outcomes that are important to them. Another topic that we get into is the natural planning model. And this is one of my favorite elements of getting things done. I think it's for many people, it's an unknown area, or certainly a neglected area of GTD. And the natural planning model takes as its starting point that if we're going to plan something, that we human beings, we plan very naturally. We plan all the time, right? Do a little thought experiment. Take out a piece of paper and imagine you're going to plan your next holiday, whether it's this summer or whether it's the end of the year, whenever. Do a little bit of a plan. What's relevant? What might you need to take into account? We'll do this exercise in a seminar. It's not hard for people to come up with considerations. Where are we going? How much do we want to spend? Who's coming along? Who do we need to talk to get permission to get time off? So we plan very naturally, we human beings. And what the natural planning model does is it gives us the opportunity to be explicit about what we do when we plan. So that's, again, we introduce it in terms of the theory of it, and then we get a lot of chance for people to try it out and to do a bit of planning in there, in the projects that they have that are, maybe the kinds of projects that are a bit bigger, a few more moving parts. Any project where you'd say to me, hey, you know what, I've identified the next action and I've identified the outcome, but I still feel like there's more work to do here. There's more planning to do here. And if that's the case, then the natural planning model might help. We also give people an opportunity to build on the systems that they have already. So, what are some elements of a system that you haven't implemented already that might help? Those might be specific lists, some very tactical things. One thing we talk about, for example, in the seminar is, how about a list of, which we call a next time in list. And it's appropriate if you do traveling on any kind of a regular basis. You might say, okay, I spend a lot of time in Edinburgh, let's imagine. Well, if that's the case, what I might want to do is have a list called Next Time in Edinburgh. And what I use that list for is to keep track of places I want to go, restaurants I want to visit, people I might let know I'm coming up the next time I go to Edinburgh. So that's just one example, but we give quite a few examples. And again, as I said earlier, people also get the chance to learn from each other by trading ideas about things they already have in their systems. And then at the end, we get into the weekly review, okay? And what we're trying to do there is reduce the friction, if you have any friction at all, about doing a weekly review. So we get into, for example, how would you customize a weekly review to make it work for you? How could you make sure that when you're, that your system and your mind are ready for doing a weekly review? What are the outcomes of a good weekly review? We do a bit of a fundamental review of what the weekly review is really all about. Not so much in terms of the individual steps that we recommend. That is, of course, something that we do a quick review of, but more about what are the benefits of all of this, and how could I make it my own? Anyway, I hope that's been helpful. If all of that sounds good, and you think that you might be interested in coming along to one of the level 2s, please do let us know. You can find information about the level 2s on the website, which is www.next-action.co.uk. And as always, if there's anything else that we can be of help with in your GTD journey, please let us know. Bye for now.